Yo, what's going on, guys? So in this video, I'm kind of gonna be sharing my rules. And before this gets started, okay, these rules are going to be for me. Okay, these are not ICT's rules. Some of them were adopted from ICT. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So I have pretty much three main rules. Okay, so when learning ICT, my first rule, and probably the one that has saved me the most, okay, is not longing with equal lows below and not shorting with equal highs above. Okay, so first off, what if there's both? Well, if there's both equal highs and equal lows, okay, so if I go like the 5 minute yesterday, if there's both equal highs and equal lows, so like right here, okay, they have to be exact to the cent. Okay, I'm not talking about relative equal highs, I'm talking about equal highs. If there's both, well, I wait for one to get swept, and then I wait for a long setup the other way. So, like, because we hit these equal lows first, what does that mean? That just means I wait for a long setup to go the other way. Okay, and if I go back to this from yesterday, it was right here. Okay, we never actually swept. Okay, we never actually got a long setup, in this whole leg. Okay, so since we swept these, okay, there's no market structure shift, there's nothing telling me to go long. Okay, ideally the first place I see long setup on the 1 minute would be probably this order block right here. Okay, that would be the first spot. The mean threshold of it is right here, and obviously the order block would be this candle downwards. Okay, so that'd be the first setup I'd see. But if you go to like the 3 minute, okay, it was a breaker as well. So we have this order block, right? It's broken through. Okay, when we displace above it, okay, here's your long setup kind of confirmation, and that was literally pretty much the only long I saw. I mean, I guess you could consider this long as well. Okay, so the reason why I like this long as well is because, again, it's under, we have equal lows right here. We have three of them. Okay, we have a fair value gap under equal lows. Okay, and it's also, there's also an inverse volume imbalance, so your stop probably would have been like under this or something. So that's kind of the other long. And something I tell people is the higher you chase up to liquidity, the high, like if you don't get this entry down here off like this wick on this breaker, right? If by entering right here, you're accepting that there's going to be traders already in here, which are going to be up in profit. So you're basically entering as if you were already in profit, except you're not in the position. So the higher you enter, the more risk you're putting on yourself. And if you thought we were going to hit these highs and you get an entry right here, and you're up here, well, that's a great entry. You just want to see this hold. But if you didn't get an entry down here, right, and you think we're going to hit these highs, you just got to realize that the risk to reward is going to be much worse if you enter here versus if you enter down here. Okay, even if this was a losing trade, it still goes. Okay, just because this is hindsight doesn't mean anything, right? Even if this was still a losing trade, it still means the risk is still more, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, and another thing is you can see a couple of different equal lows and equal highs here. Okay, so there's equal lows here, equal lows here, equal lows here, and on a day like, so if we look at the VIX real quick, I just want to point this out. The VIX has been pretty low, meaning we've been pretty low on VIX, which is the volatility index indicator. Okay, and you can see how low we are. And usually what this means is just us going 5 handles is going to be much slower than typically normal. So if we look, this is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Okay, this was last Friday. Last Friday we are $2 above where we are now. And last Friday we got some nice volatility last Friday. Okay, 5-point handles or 5 handle moves are easier. The moves completed quicker last week, and last week was great. Okay, but the reason why we're a little on the rough side this week is probably because the VIX is so low. So that's another thing. So that's another thing I pay attention to, and that's actually a total complete lie. I do not look at the VIX every day, but it's kind of good to be aware of where that is. Okay, so even if you're not checking it daily, I'll check it weekly. And I do have to get in the habit of doing that. But that's another reason why the volatility has been so low, and And you can even see like these there's so many barcoding candles, and what that means is there's a lot of gaps in between these candles. Like there's gaps here, and we are holding the gaps. Like these are legit volume imbalances, like you can even see like right here. Okay, we technically hold this, okay, but that just means the volume is really bad. Okay, and on days where the VIX is very low, that's usually like you can still use equal highs and equal lows in the 1 minute. Okay, so if I had a rule right here, I'm not shorting unless these get hit. It would still apply, but on days like this with low volume, usually you just want to see 5 minute equal lows and equal highs. I think those are the best. So these were actually 5 minute equal highs right here. Okay, and there weren't actually ever any equal lows down here. Okay, there are 1 minute equal lows right here, which I think are going to be hit. Okay, and they are triple equal lows. So if I ever see triple equal lows in the 1 minute or more, okay, I do hold the weight on those. If I ever see 2 equal lows or 2 equal highs like these, I won't hold as much weight on them. Okay, even like right here. Okay, these equal highs were not hit. Okay, and on days like today, okay, when the VIX is low, they can't be reliable. But if you see VIX is pretty high, okay, and you see 1 minute equal highs, even just 2 of them, usually they will be hit, and that just means, okay, I'm not longing with equal highs above, and I'm not longing with equal lows below, or I'm not shorting with equal, or I'm not longing with equal lows below, and I'm not shorting with equal highs above. So like that's one of my probably my main and favorite rule. So like right here, okay, if I wanted to, if we go in the replay mode, right? And I just go in the replay mode 1 second. Right here, okay, there's equal highs and equal lows. So what do? I just wait till one gets swept, and then I target the other one. Okay, and it has to be an entry. Okay, so we see these get swept. Okay, we have a fair value gap right here now. That's where I'm shorting, and then my target's just a low. Okay, so like right here, okay, and it just perfectly, it perfectly works out. We're gonna smash through these any moment, likely. So again, you just see it perfectly works out. And a lot of people ask, what do you do if there's equal lows and equal highs above and below? Okay, I just wait till one gets swept and I target the other. But even on days like these, it's hard to hold weight to even like these 2 equal highs. Okay, there's just not enough volume. Eventually these will be hit at some point in time, but there really hasn't been a decent framework to get up there yet. On the 15 minute, we are pretty high still, even in the 1 hour. Okay, we are still very extended. So I mean, I'm not surprised that we're dumping here, but again, on the low volume days, even when VIX is low, I'll just pay attention to the equal highs and equal lows in the 5 minute, and my rule is I literally just don't, if I see equal highs above, I don't short. If I see equal lows below, I don't long. Okay, sometimes it helps me, sometimes it makes me miss out on moves. Okay, but that's okay, because the times it does help me, I am very glad. Okay, and my second rule is it's not equal lows and equal highs, but this morning on Q, okay, I always wanted to short, and if we look at ES, I knew that ES did hit buy side, so buy side was right here, right? So I knew we hit buy side on ES, okay, but if you look at on Q, which I'll just load up in here, we also had buy side, which was right here, and when we hit buy side on ES, I was like, okay, we never hit buy side on Q. So it's kind of like having equal highs and equal lows above. I just didn't short. Okay, so this morning, this is actually up a little bit. The line's a little off. I think it's right here. Okay, so the buy side was right here, and we end up getting like a few ticks away from it, and then we just went back down again. So like, if I see us get a few ticks away from like a high or low on NQES, okay, even when they go back down, I'm not shorting this. Okay. I'm not shorting this inverse BISI, okay, even though it works to some extent. I'm not shorting this inverse BISI. And that's another rule that has saved me a lot of times. The only time it fails is when we get an SMT. Okay, but it's not like it fails. It just means I'm not in the trade, so I'm not losing money at least, right? So if you ever get a few ticks from a higher low and then we go back down again, I will never short the retrace. Okay, same with the long. If we get a few points within a low and then we never hit it and we go back up again, I'm never going to long the retrace, because most of the time we end up going back to that low after something like this happens. So we got close to this and then we came back later to this high. So that's kind of another rule I have, and I explained in one of my older videos where if you ever see price come this close to a high and then we just don't hit, usually it sets up for inducement, which basically means price goes back down here, creates new higher highs and new lower lows, and we just induce under and over them and stop out the retail traders, then make a way above. And this is also another way for more smart money to get in, okay? Because smart money can't get in without us running stop losses, right? Or highs and lows even, okay? So that's what I want to say about that. So that's my second rule. My third and final rule is timing, okay? I only trade at certain times in the market. Typically, I do not trade during lunch. I do sometimes. I will not lie. Typically, I do not trade during lunch. If you can read price during lunch, then that's fine. Like right now, I would think, okay, we're going to the sell side over here. Okay, that's what I would think right now. And the reason why I think that is because we had equal highs above here. We swept them. This was considered like the lunchtime stop run. And then we go down and hit these lows right here. So that's kind of my prediction. Okay, but you have to know what to expect during lunch. If you see low volume price action just during lunch, it usually is when the volume dies down. I typically don't like the trade. But lunch, and then I usually, if I see a nice setup anytime after 1:30, I'll trade. And then like 8:30 to 10:30, that's kind of my window. Anything outside that time, I typically don't trade. Even the Asia session, I used to trade all the time, but I don't trade it anymore. Okay, I don't think there's enough volume, and I think I used to get wrecked sometimes. Although plays worked out sometimes, okay, I used to get wrecked, right? And that's totally fine. Okay. There's going to be times to trade and times not to trade. The other times you can trade is the London session, which is 2 to 5, right? That's totally fine if you're awake. I'm just not awake during that time, so I don't trade during that time, right? So that's kind of my third rule, timing. I only trade between 8:30 and 10:30, and then sometimes after 1:30, depends on the day, depends on the price action. A lot of times you can tell if it's seek and destroy is if we keep going above these mini highs and then just dumping, or going below mini lows and then pumping, something like this. Okay, usually that's seek and destroy profile, which I typically do not like trading that. So if it is like that, I will not trade in the afternoon, but it kind of depends. So yeah, those are my three main rules. I really think the first one is very helpful. I know it's helped a lot of people. You just got to beware of the volume, because you have to put less weight into the equal highs and equal lows you see if there's not enough volume, okay? Or you just got to go to the higher time frame and look for them if there's not enough volume. So assuming this is probably going to be here in a second, I'm going to end the video before, but hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop some comments below with your rules that you have. I'm curious to see what your guys' rules are. I do have a few more rules, but I feel like those are my main rules, so those are the ones that I briefly discussed. So yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace.